He's a good listener and a good counselor, and he needs to have some information at hand if he'll ever be able to advise Tae-hyung in any of this. They quite recently resumed their friendship, which has been dormant for quite some years, but they certainly didn't rest on the tap once they started it back up again. It was almost as if they'd starved without each other, and now wanted to make up for lost time. It never slowed down, though, so for 6 months straight they've spent a ridiculous amount of time together and enjoyed every single minute of it. It's even gone so far that Tae-hyung and Seokjin's other friends have complained about feeling slightly abandoned, but that's just silly. Seokjin hasn't been in contact with any of the other boys since he left the band either. And Tae-hyung has unfortunately lost contact with Jimin and Yoongi, so at least being the two of them feels really, really good. Trying to recall exactly what he told Jungkook at the party, he retells Seokjin, and Seokjin hums and drinks and nods reassuringly, interjecting a word here and there. So, Tae-hyung takes a deep breath, concluding, Jungkook's got a boyfriend who you'll live happily ever after with, while I'll be looking at a depressing future, in which I, at its best, will find someone to like but who I'll constantly compare to Jungkook. Anyway, Tae-hyung empties the last of his glass in a large gulp. He smiles, but he can tell that Seokjin notices that it far from reaches his eyes. Hey, Tae-hyung, you will love someone else, someday. You don't think so now, but I promise you will, okay? Tae-hyung says dismissively, clearly just agreeing to get Seokjin to shut up. Did the boyfriend attended the party as well? Seokjin is curious and Tae-hyung sighs. No. Thank God. Had I found out that way, seeing Jungkook kiss him or something, I'd probably made a scene. No, not even probably, I would have. Seokjin chuckles lowly and then his eyes get a sudden spark in them, and he exclaims, we are going on holiday, Tae-hyung. Enough is enough. A month was what I was going to give you to sulk, but your depression is now officially over. Shut the f. No. I mean it. Sun pool. Drinks. Good food. A small party or two. Sounds good, right? Not interested in comfort. Don't mean for you to sleep around. That's not what this trip is about. You were never good at one-night stands anyway. Pretty sure blokes won't cheer you up at this stage, but the other stuff I mentioned, that will pretending to think it over, perhaps even smiling slightly approvingly, Tae-hyung finally gets him to calm down about the Jungkook depression party bit, and they spend the rest of the evening talking about mostly other things. Knowing that Seokjin isn't as ignorant as he sounds, when it comes to pointing out that one can choose to not be depressed anymore, it's also kind of amusing and uplifting to hear him joke about it. And it certainly kicks things off in Tae-hyung's head, telling him that a short holiday with one of his best friends actually could be a good distraction from the shit life he's leading right now. It's not like he's having a lot of fun being tucked in for most of the day, hardly eating or responding to his friends and family's worried texts. Calls aren't even to think about. He's got no energy to talk to anyone on the phone, not even Seokjin as it is now. Sitting here with Seokjin, in a pub, tonight, is actually a massive achievement, and he knows that Seokjin really can appreciate that as well. The evening ends with Tae-hyung agreeing to think about it, the holiday that is, and then he takes a cab home. Entering his flat, he finally grabs that huge packet of ice cream that has been waiting in his fridge for ages, and he eats it, watching some shit show on TV, but at least he's not crawling right back into his bed the first thing he does when entering his flat this time. And that's a win, however small it may be. The next morning, He has a text from Jin saying that he's booked flight tickets to Barcelona for the coming weekend, as well as 4 nights at a luxurious hotel on the beach. Jin's annoying sometimes, alright, but for the first time in ages he's smiling to himself by own accord, and it feels good, a feeling he almost had forgot how good it felt. Taekook is at the pub again, with a huge gang of friends, no Jungkook, though, smoking and drinking excessively. The usual picture of an ordinary evening for Taekook nowadays. What could he say? "Where's the hubby tonight then?" Lee asks before he empties his umpteenth beer for tonight, trying for a casual tone, but Taekook recognizes the worried hint lingering in the background of his voice. "Working," Taekook snorts, emptying his own beer as well. "Or, what the hell do I know, really," he adds, looking around to see if there's any untouched pint incredibly still on the table. There's not. "Hey," Taekook shouts to a waiter timely passing by. "Another round, please, Tae," Lee says slowly, carefully shutting the others out of their conversation for now. "You're drunk." "I'm drunk." "Can we just slow it down a bit, and I haven't seen him for days, you know." "Who?" "Jungkook. He's finishing up the album." "Yeah, but, honestly, how much can he work without a break, huh? Or does he have breaks but just doesn't spend them with me?" Taekook can hear himself falling back into the bitter whining which has become more and more common lately. "You're going on holiday when he's done, aren't you?" "The Caribbean, right? The Maldives, same Then you'll have oceans to swim in and oceans of time for each other." "Be patient, Taekook." Lee slurs slightly, but Taekook can tell he's well aware of the topic and that it, as of late, has turned into a slightly serious one. "I'm sick of it, though." We are drifting apart. Taekook feels a stab in his heart as soon as he utters the words out loud, but they are no lesser true. Nothing you can't fix during a week in the Caribbean, Maldives. "And I honestly don't know, Lee, because you should see us now. We are almost behaving like strangers." "Jesus Christ, we don't, Lee, and that's definitely a red flag, at least when it comes to us. Because we usually all the time. All couples have their ups and downs, don't they? You are in a down right now. You'll sort it out in a couple of weeks." Taekook wrinkles his eyebrows and bites his lower lip, but a sob still escapes his mouth. 3 weeks, even. It's 3 long weeks until their holiday. Sighing understandingly, he reaches out and squeezes his arm. "I miss him," Taekook chokes out, accompanied by another sob. So much." "How's that even possible when he is my boyfriend?" The new round of pints arrives, and Taekook reflexively reaches for one of the glasses and takes a couple of huge gulps before he continues. "But I'm also angry with him. And disappointed. Disappointed. That he lets this album, which is great by the way, he's so great, come before me all the time. He could have set aside time for one date night with me for those past 2 months. Being just him and me, he could have." Lee agrees. Taekook puts a full pint in front of Lee, but he pushes it to the side. "Perhaps you can surprise him? With a date night in, the next time you know he'll be home in time for dinner." Starting to pout, whilst Lee's words sink in, Taekook slowly nods, and a tired, drunken grin soon adorns his face. "You're a genius, Lee. Do that. And afterwards I'll seduce him good, and that'll surely make him remember what he's missing out on." And just like that we are right back on track. The plan feels slightly fragile, but it's better than no plan. Lee smiles as well, nodding towards the pint in Taekook's hand. And to both of their surprise, Taekook puts it down and whispers, "Cab, good idea, The opportunity presents itself already the night after Lee came up with the idea. Unfortunately, Jungkook doesn't give him much notice, calling from the studio and asking if he should get them some takeaway on the way home. So, Taehyung's plan about making him a romantic dinner fails, but he's got enough time to take a shower and change his joggers and tank top jeans and a cool new black Burberry top. And he stays barefoot. For some reason Jungkook usually comments positively on it. He pulls out a crystal from the wine cooler and places it in an ice bucket on the kitchen island, together with 2 champagne floats. Then he lights a ridiculous amount of candlelights, also, something he knows Jungkook appreciates incredibly, at least the few times he's done so. He doesn't forget to put on some background music either, and when he hears Jungkook turn his key in the front door lock, he feels all set and prepared. Oh! What's all this? Jungkook smiles widely when he enters the living room. 2 paper bags with Indian takeaway in one hand, his keys in the other, which he throws on the coffee table. Taehyung smiles back and slowly walks up to him, freeing him from the bags and puts them on the coffee table as well. This Taehyung mumbles and steps into Jungkook's space. Is me trying to seduce my man? Am I too obvious? They both chuckle at that, and Jungkook pulls Taehyung close and gives him a hug that is close to bone breaking.